I think you really have to do your own research on this, right? It's quite shocking. There's loads of ways that big brands can get around sort of certain things, like marketing saying it's free from this or free from that, and it actually does contain traces of these elements. So you do have to do your own research, do a little dive into the company and see exactly what it is they're claiming is the non-stick element.
Hello, welcome to the Myers Detox Podcast. I'm Dr. Wendy Myers, and on this show, we talk about everything related to heavy metal and chemical toxicity, the health issues caused by toxins, and anti-aging and bioenergetics, and many other advanced topics in health. And our guest today, David Barrett, is going to be talking about the toxins lurking in your cookware and what the healthiest cookware choice is. I think this is a topic that confuses a lot of people. A lot of misconceptions about what to use and what not to use. So we're going to dispel all those myths on the show today. And today we'll be talking about nonstick pans and PFAS, the PFAS, kind of family of forever chemicals that consist of over 4,700 industrial chemicals widely used in many products, including nonstick pans, but it can range from food packaging to toiletries, clothing, and carpets. Studies have shown that exposure to these forever chemicals have been linked to growth, learning, behavioral, and problems, and even cancer. And we'll talk about the huge health risk factor in using cast iron pans that a lot of people aren't thinking about. We'll also talk about ceramic cookware. We'll talk about aluminum cookware. And I see lots of problems with aluminum toxicity in people that use aluminum cookware. It's also used in restaurants typically because it's really cheap. And we'll talk about what cookware is the safest, non-toxic, and what I recommend and use myself. And we'll also talk about the concept of your diet and why there's no point in going to all the trouble to buy healthy food, even organic food, if you're just cooking it in cookware that leaches all these different toxins into it. You're kind of wasting your time. Our guest today, David Barrett, he's a proud owner of Chef's Foundry, a renowned non-toxic cookware brand, and he has a passion for safe kitchenware. And David established Chef's Foundry as a trusted name in the industry. And his mission with Chef's Foundry is to provide home cooks with the tools they need to create delicious meals without compromising their health. And through his leadership, Chef's Foundry continues to set new standards for excellence in cookware, inspiring chefs of all levels to cook with confidence and peace of mind. You can learn more about David at his website, chefsfoundry.com. And he also has a very special offer for Myers Detox listeners. So go check that out at bit.ly/Myers Detox. David, thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, so why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got into the non-toxic cookware business?
Yeah, so quite a long journey, really. I've been working with my brother and business partner for about 12 years now, since I was 20. And we've had several online businesses started on. We started selling animal ones. He's actually kind of a world away from cookware. And then that was like our first business we had online, and then moved into kitchen utensils and sort of grilling products. We sell it through Amazon, and then we decided we wanted to bring kind of like innovative products and products that could actually people could benefit from. So that's what kind of like got us into cookware. Was kind of shocked to like see that there's a lot of toxic brands out there selling toxic toxic non-stick coatings. So yeah, we kind of decided like we wanted to kind of like find a product which wasn't toxic, which people could benefit from like health wise. So that's what got us into this industry, really.
Okay, great. Yeah. And then, the non-stick cookware is such a huge problem. I mean, so many people just are not thinking about it. They're not thinking about the health consequences of the kitchen pans and utensils that they're using and the dramatic health impacts that these nonstick cookwares that are full of PFAS, that we'll talk about in a second what those are and what they do. But people just, are using these problematic nonstick pans because they're easier. But also there's a lot of greenwashing of nonstick cookware as well. Like they're sold as non-toxic, but they're in fact not. So let's kind of dive into all this stuff. So what are PFAS? What are these, and what kind of health issues are they causing?
Yeah, so PFAs are a list of industrial chemicals. I think it's 4,700 in total, which are used for like everyday products from like food packaging to like toiletries and clothing. Studies have shown basically that if we're exposed to these chemicals, there's links to like growth, learning, behavioral problems. So like it's essential that, we avoid PFAs as much as we can.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, they cause hormone disruption. I mean, there's so many health issues linked to these, and they're in all the nonstick cookware, all the nonstick pans you're using to make your eggs every morning. And while it might be easier to clean, it's really hard to clean your cells from this stuff because these are termed forever chemicals. I mean, they persist forever in our environment. They're difficult to break down, if not impossible, and very difficult for your body to deal with. I mean, you really, really need to pay attention to this stuff. And unfortunately, there's so many companies producing so many chemicals that just don't go away in our environment. So need these out of your kitchen. Absolutely. So let's talk about cookware. Let's talk about your cookware that you created at chefsfoundry.com. And what type of material are you using? We're going to get into some other types of pots and pans and materials used in them and the problems with those. But I first wanted to kind of illustrate what material you used and what makes that different, what makes it non-toxic.
Of course. So our pans are ceramic, and the non-stick part of it is a special coating made by a company called iLag. And the coating is basically free from PFAs or PFOAs.
Okay, fantastic. Yeah, and I love the pans. You sent me a set of them. I absolutely love them. They're really easy to cook with. They're very easy to clean. They're scratch resistant. They're just really, really, really well made. And so I highly recommend them. You can check them out at chefsfoundry.com. But let's talk about, the greenwashing of some nonstick pans. So there's some pans that I bought that said it's a non-stick, non-toxic, etc. And then later I found out that it wasn't. And it's very, very distressing, I think, for a lot of consumers and consumers that, that don't realize they're using, kind of fraudulent non-stick, non-toxic pans. So can you talk about that issue a little bit?
Yeah, so I mean, I think you really have to do your own research on this, right? It's quite shocking. There's loads of ways that big brands can get around sort of certain things like marketing saying it's free from this or free from that, and it actually does contain like traces of these elements. So you do have to do your own research basically on that. But yeah, like I said, our cookware is, we get this tested. We know the coating is free from PFAs. So yeah, you really do kind of have to do a little dive into the company and see exactly what it is they're claiming is the non-stick element.
So for anyone listening that really wants to detox their body, go to heavymetalsquiz.com. I created a quiz for you. It only takes a couple of seconds. Based on some lifestyle questions, you can get your toxicity score and get a free video series that answers all of your frequently asked questions about how to detox your body. Check it out, heavymetalsquiz.com. Yeah. And then let's talk about, say, cast iron. So I hate cast iron. I would never, ever personally use that because it contains a form of iron that's not nutritive. Our bodies cannot turn that iron magically into the iron that we need. So it just builds up to toxic levels. Like a lot of the iron in our diet and things like that are enriched in flours really just cause a lot of oxidative stress, free radicals, and different problems in our body. They are not feeding our body iron that produces energy. So it's having the exact opposite effect. So don't do what grandma did. So what is your take on the whole cast iron pots and pans?
I mean, from a cooking perspective, I guess people want convenience, right? So, they want to be able to cook these products. Want to be able to cook their food as easy as they can, but you still got to be careful, what these pans are made of. So, that's kind of like why, uh, our brands, they have the non-stick element as well as the non-toxic element. So yeah, I think, each their own, everyone's different. Everyone likes, like has got a certain sort of type of cookware they like cooking with. But yeah, from a standpoint of our cookware, we kind of like looking to keep it healthy with the convenience for the consumer.
Yeah, and I think people that are using iron, a lot of them are using it because they think they're getting nutritional iron from it. And it's just it's not that simple. There's ferric iron and ferrous iron, and cows will turn iron, iron in the grass from plants and turn it into a form that's really highly absorbable by our body. We're not doing that when we're using cast iron pans. So it's just and I think use of cast iron pans and the amount of iron that we absorb from that contributes to dementia. I've done lots and lots of research on this, and iron is incredibly problematic. It's very difficult for the body to get rid of, to detox it. You detox it by giving blood, essentially. So you do not want to add iron on purpose to your body through your cookware. It's just really you need to research that if you don't want to take my word for it. It's not healthy for you. And then let's talk about aluminum cookware. I think there's some people that buy this because it's very inexpensive, and it's used in restaurants because it's cheap and disposable. What I've seen is when people on hair mineral analyses that I do on them, their aluminum is sky high. I asked them, and they're using aluminum cookware.
Yeah.
Aluminum is very problematic. Talk about anything else you want to contribute about aluminum cookware.
Yeah, well, I mean, anything kind of like seeping into your food isn't good, right? On top of, what you actually eat, right? A lot of the processed foods and having additives in it and stuff like that. That's why you need to be careful what you're cooking. So like with aluminum pans, if they're seeping into your food, like you don't know how much of that you're getting. And obviously you don't want to be putting excess of that or any of that in your food at all, right? Into your body. So yeah, I would kind of avoid that at all costs.
Yeah, I mean, that's a problem with eating at restaurants too. That's why it's so important to eat at home because a lot of restaurants use aluminum cookware, especially the cheaper restaurants. And just not really thinking about this at all. But if you're eating food from aluminum cookware or aluminum flatware, you eating utensils at the restaurant, you're getting aluminum in your body, and that aluminum kills brain cells. It dramatically impacts, neurotransmission, gets into your nervous system. It causes so many different issues, contributes also to different forms of dementia. So very problematic. And let's go into ceramic cookware because there's different grades of ceramic cookware. There are some that they don't really have a very good coating on them. And I think it's just like anything, there's different grades of quality. Can you talk a little bit about ceramic?
Yeah, so I guess, with the ceramic cookware, you just want to go like a sort of high grade ceramic. You know, you don't want any of that seeping into you, right? So I guess again, that's kind of like why we chose to, put this non-toxic coating on our product so that, you're using that coating and you're not actually kind of like heating up the pan and that is not seeping into your food. So yeah, with the ceramic, I guess you just want to go with like high quality ceramic. And again, it's research, right? You need to research the company. It doesn't necessarily mean like the top brands are the ones bringing you the top quality products, right? So you actually need to go and find out like what grade the ceramic is.
I wanted to give a word to one of our sponsors and thank them. I love Solaris by Activation Products. This is a product I've been using for almost 7 years now. This is my go-to to prevent colds, to deal with candida, parasites, rashes, skin rashes. It's amazing but this is my go-to product called Solaris by Activation Products. They also have a whole line of the best top of the line products that I highly recommend to all of my patients. Go check them out at activationproducts.com. Yes. Yeah. And then also let's talk about stainless steel. So any problem with like stainless steel pans at all? I mean, I definitely have used stainless steel before, and again, there's varying qualities of stainless steel. You don't want to use stainless steel pots that are, 20 years old, that have all kinds of pock marks in them or scratches and things that can, reduce the integrity of the metal and have that leach into your food. So I think there's a lot of different things to consider when it comes to stainless. So I think they're relatively safe.
Yeah, I think stainless steel is relatively safe, but again, it's what you like cooking with, right? Like we wanted to create a pan which was healthy and convenient, right? And I think that's kind of like what we've done in the sense of, got the non-toxic coating, and it's healthy, it's not seeping into your food. With the stainless steel ones, I think you'll struggle to kind of cook without having actual oil in the pan, right? Which our pans you can do. Like we've proven that. You can see on our website, like we've proved that that's possible. So yeah, I think it's whatever you're used to cooking with. But yeah, again, I think convenience comes into play for some people.
Yeah, I know with cooking with stainless, I have very heavy duty stainless steel pans, and they're so heavy it almost they I hurt my wrist using
Mm.
them. I
Yeah,
did
of
one time,
course.
and they're just super heavy duty ones, but also they are challenging to cook with. I don't want to make eggs in stainless steel. They stick, they turn into a mess. If you burn something a little bit, overcook it a little too much, you have this huge mess you have to clean up in the stainless steel pan and, use that metal kind of mesh thing to the little metal sponge.
Yeah.
What do you call that? I forget what you call that. The,
I'm not sure, but I know exactly what you're talking about because I'm sure I've scratched several pans if with them.
yeah, like, if you gotta, it can be really
Yeah,
difficult to clean a
it's like a wire
burned.
mesh.
Yeah, it's like a wire mesh thing. Yeah, I forget what it's called, but it can be very difficult to clean a burned stainless steel pan, and you have to soak it and things like that. But with your pans, it kind of just takes all that, kind of takes all that away, factors that out. And they're, like I said, they're very easy to cook with, non-stick, and it's much more enjoyable to cook with and to clean as well. Yeah. So, what are some of the biggest hazards in the kitchen that people are unaware of?
So I mean, obviously, we've been speaking about the cookware, and it was obviously quite clear that there are a lot of toxic brands out there which their non-stick elements are seeping into our food. But so it's essential that you do your research and find out what cookware you want to work with, and what is the safest, right? But then the biggest issue is like what we've put into our bodies, right? I've actually, and I don't know if this is going off topic slightly, but I come across this really cool app in the UK, which allows you to scan the food that you're eating. So, like a lot of the supermarket food, you can scan it, and it tells you what additives are in there, and it's shocking to like actually have a look and see what's being added into brands you think there's no way there's additives, but like these hazardous, sort of chemicals they're putting in there so that we can have our kind of packaged or processed foods and that. So, yeah, I'd say number one thing is like kind of choose what you put into your body, right? Choose what food you want to eat. But then, yeah, second to that is obviously, choose how you cook it, right? And that's with the cookware or the sort of the cooking utensils that you use.
So, I also love your P600 knives now that we're talking about utensils, because a lot of people are cooking with dull knives. That's obviously really, really annoying. And I have really expensive Japanese knives that I've had for years, and they're, $100 to $300 per knife. And I can't tell you, half of them have broken, like the tips have broken off of them because tempered stainless steel is very sharp, but also extremely fragile. And I just found another one. I just moved. I found another one of my knives that the tip got broken off of it if someone throws it in the dishwasher or whatever. And it's just really, really frustrating. And your knives are amazing. So these P600 knives, tell us about those and what makes them different from your typical knife.
Yeah, so the P600 is probably the first product we did under it's just Foundry. And they have a ceramic zirconia blade, which is 10 times harder than stainless steel. So, they make like kind of food prep, any sort of slicing through vegetables, like so easy, like literally just glides through them. we actually did a cool tomato test. So what you basically do is slice the tomato in half, put it on the chopping board, and then you try to slice it without moving the tomato. And we actually did this with our knife, which goes through fine, but then you try and do it with a stainless steel knife. I think we did it actually with a Damascus knife, which is the Japanese steel, and it couldn't do it. But like, and a lot of people actually say like, "Oh, that's not real," but like, trust me, it is. We actually did that, and I was like astounded. Like, it goes through. It's like it honestly like going through butter. So it's yeah, it's really cool, awesome knives.
Yeah, and with the regular knives, a lot of people just buy cheap knives. They just kind of buy whatever, just something to cut with. And I know for me, I love cooking. I hate cooking with dull knives. I hate it. And with my stainless steel knives, I find that I have to sharpen them every you're supposed to sharpen them after every use actually, because eventually the knife gets damaged. But with the zirconia knives, do you have to do that? Do you have to sharpen them very often?
Well, they stay sharp for a long time. But yeah, we sell a sharpener with them as well. But yeah, over time, they will dull down, but they stay sharper for a lot longer than your standard stainless steel knives do.
Yeah, and they seem like they're just a lot easier to take care of. They're like they're dishwasher safe, and I mean you probably have to watch your fingers when you're using them because they're very, very sharp. So you have to pay attention, no distractions while you're cooking with them.
Yeah, got to be careful. That's why we they come with the sheaths and that just don't want people damaging themselves.
Okay, fantastic. Yeah. So, and you guys have other products too as well.
Yeah, so at the minute we've just got the P600 cookware range and the P600 knives, but yeah, we're bringing out a few other cool products. We've got our steak knives coming out. Yeah, we're gonna have a few cool products coming out later on.
I want to give thanks to one of our sponsors. It's gluteryl transdermal glutathione spray. So glutathione is essential for detoxification and to promote energy, cleansing, and overall well-being. So enter gluteryl. It's the groundbreaking topical glutathione spray that's about to become your new wellness essential. So gluteryl delivers glutathione on demand through a multi-patented sub-nano technology, challenging the IV and the liposomal delivery systems currently on the market. So glutathione is key to balancing oxidative stress and free radicals and promoting longevity. So add gluteryl to your longevity routine this year by visiting aurowellness.com. That's AURO wellness.com and use code Wendy5 to get 5% off your first order.
Yeah, so I'd love to see that. I'd love to see your whole range. I absolutely love your pans. I think they are exceptionally well priced when you look at the prices of other sets of pans on the market that aren't nearly as good quality, that aren't non-toxic, non-stick. I think they're just a really, really good deal, and really encourage everyone listening to go check them out at chefsfoundry.com. So, David, thanks much for coming on the show. Anything else that we've left out of the conversation you want to add?
No, I think we covered everything, but thank you for having me. It's been a pleasure.
Okay, fantastic. Well, everyone, I'm Dr. Wendy Myers. Thanks so much for tuning in to the Myers Detox Podcast. And I love doing this show. I love bringing experts from around the world to help you really up level your game. And one of the areas that you really need to be paying attention to is in your kitchen and the utensils you're using, the cookware that you're using. It can make such a huge, huge difference in your health just by changing out your old, 10 or 15-year-old, 20-year cookware and upgrading to something that is, much healthier for you. And definitely get rid of any nonstick pan you're using. Get rid of that. I mean, it's just not doing your health any favor. So thanks for tuning in, and I'll talk to you guys next week. Again, thank you so much for listening to the Myers Detox Podcast. And if you want to take advantage of the very special offer that David is offering the Myers Detox listeners, just go to bit.ly/Myers Detox. That's bit.ly at Myers Detox, MYERS Detox, and you'll get a special price on his P600 non-toxic cookware set and get a free gift of a free carving knife and fork set worth $99, a very special Black Friday offer for my audience. So just go check that out. I love David's cookware. I use it myself. Really, really like it. I love the non-stick features of it without having to worry about the toxic chemicals on almost all nonstick cookware pans, even ones that claim to be non-toxic, typically are not. So got to be very, very careful about that. So thanks for tuning into the Myers Detox podcast, and I'll see you guys next week.
The Myers Detox podcast is created and hosted by Wendy Myers. This podcast is for information purposes only. Statements and views expressed on this podcast are not medical advice. This podcast, including Wendy Myers and the producers, disclaim responsibility for any possible adverse effects from the use of information contained herein. Opinions of guests are their own, and this podcast does not endorse or accept responsibility for statements made by guests. This podcast does not make any representations or warranties about guest qualifications or credibility. Individuals on this podcast may have direct or indirect financial interest in products or services referred to herein. If you think you have a medical problem, consult a licensed physician.